right, day 6 of the reveals, and we have Lissandra coming down the pipe. The queen is here. So without further ado, we're going to go through some of the cards. We got lots more interesting landmarks too, and then we're going to finish it off, as always, with the champion. So without further ado, Lissandra. Alright, so getting started here is Three Sisters. So now Lissandra is in the game. We obviously got three sisters here, Sejuani, Ashe, and Lissandra. And, man, we are starting off with a bang with this super flexible Freljord card. This card essentially allows you to pay 1 mana to have access to 3 completely different effects that can be useful in so many different situations, right? Freezing a unit, buffing a unit, and as we'll see with the next card, because I'm going to go over Entomb, a temporary removal or dodge, depending on how you use it. When I say dodge, I mean like Glimpse Beyond, right? When you dodge like a Lee Sin kick or something like that. So overall, though, I love this card's design. I'm not sure it'll have a super obvious spot in a deck to start with, but I could definitely see this being used in something like Midrange Frostbite, because Midrange Frostbite, I know in the past, could definitely use freeze and buffs like Fury of the North. Maybe it'll be able to use Entomb as well. So Entomb, we have the third option of Three Sisters, and this card is a doozy. It has a similar effect to that of Ancient Hourglass, right? We actually just saw this card yesterday, I think it was, and wow. Basically, this costs 3 more than Ancient Hourglass, okay? And instead of it coming back in 1 turn, it comes back in 2 turns. All right, but otherwise they have the same effect of obliterating a unit. The catch with this, however, is that this can also target enemy units. Ancient Hourglass cannot. Can only be used on your own unit. So I'm super excited to see this sort of effects being introduced into the game. I think I don't know, just a lot of cool combo potential, having this sort of stasis-like effect where they chill inside a landmark for a little bit and then they pop back out. Kind of like an Anivia type deal, right? Where you have the ability to then, like with Talia, duplicate a landmark. Now you can essentially duplicate any champion between Ancient Hourglass and Talia. So this card is a super interesting addition to the ramp family of spells for Freljord. With the same mana cost as Catalyst of Aeons, you're basically trading the heal of 3 for a permanent +2 health buff onto a unit. Because again, this is grant, not give. It's permanent. Honestly, if you're playing this with Weirding Stones, on turn 3, like let's say you play Weirding Stones on turn 3, and then you bank the 3 spell mana from turns 1 and 2, you go into turn 4 playing this, you're getting 2 ramp, and you're also protecting your Weirding Stones, so it doesn't seem terrible, right? A lot of the times your opponent will just be able to remove Weirding Stones. So this definitely allows ramp decks, I think, to at least be a little bit more consistent, keeping the Weirding Stones around, be able to protect early units like that. I don't, however, think that this will be absolutely incredible. I don't know if it's going to see a lot of play to start, and overall, I don't think it's better than the other ramp options like Catalyst and things of that nature that we currently have access to. And even more landmarks. I thought Shreema was going to be the one with the mad landmarks. Apparently Freljord is too. This, to me, is yet another card that screams late game control strategies for Freljord, right? So instead of needing to play Avalanche in your deck, you can just lump some additional Nexus healing into it with this card, right? Now, granted, it's a countdown, I gotta get used to that. Countdown, not cooldown. League of Legends on my mind effect. So there's a little bit more room for your opponent to play around the card, a little bit, teeny bit. It's only countdown 1. Even with that taken into consideration, I do like this card's design. I fully expect it to see play, and it might even replace Avalanche. Avalanche does still have some uses where it might be better, though. All right, and another landmark, Frozen Thrall, with the card that it pops out, Frostguard Thrall. Wow. So if the Grumpy Bear that we went over from the last reveal didn't seem good, now we have another landmark going all in on this countdown ramp type, wait a little while, get a really big, huge unit. Clearly, the value here is worth it. You're paying 1 mana for an 8/8. Sign me up. The question is the weight worth it? I think the answer is a resounding yes with this card in particular. 1 mana's worth of tempo doesn't seem like much. It's pretty negligible tempo loss if you're up against, unless you're up against something like Discard Aggro, right, where every mana kind of matters in the early games. But man, even if you're waiting that long, 1 mana 8/8 Feels real nice. Now toss this bad boy into the mix, and you can potentially have the thralls out even earlier than expected. This is, however, I think kind of more of a high rolly sort of card that you'll need to get exactly on turn 5, right? Like, that's the idea. You play Frozen Thrall on 1, you play this on 5, you have an 8/8 on turn 5. Feels really nice, but you have to draw them in exactly that order, and that's a tall task to really fully realize the dream, right? With that said, if you do get it late game, and you get the Frozen Thralls late game, still feels pretty good. You're basically cutting the countdown effect in half, and you can wait, till you have both in hand, right? Until you actually play it. Maybe the idea is to predict cards. Maybe this gets played something like Shurima. You play the Frozen Thrall, you predict the Inquisitor to the top of the deck, and then you draw it. I don't know, but it's gonna be a blast playing these, is all I can tell you. And to close things off before we get to Lissandra, we finally have a straight up 1 mana AoE, and it belongs to Freljord. Unfortunately, I don't think it's that great. Considering that Avalanche only costs 1 more, and it ups the damage by 1. Now, sure, you get the Nexus damage included, but I'm not sure that's really worth the additional mana. Just saying. It's tough, though, because if you bring this to 2 mana, like if you guys remember old school Make It Rain, yeah, that was pretty broken, and that was 2 mana, and it was only 3 things it was damaging. This is everything. I don't really think you can argue that this should be 2 mana. So I don't know. I feel like this might be one of those awkward Brood Awakening type cards where it never really sees play because the mana breakpoint is kind of awkward, but who knows. All right, Lissandra, the queen. She is here, and we went over Frozen Tomb a little bit earlier as her champion spell, and first off, wow, that's a hell of a champion spell. Seems really good. Lissandra's stats, definitely not the best for a 3-drop, right? But you can't complain when an additional 8/8 is coming out from the get, right? Now, again, you need to wait for it, so if you're playing her on turn 3, you're not going to get the 8/8 for a little while, a little later in the game, right? Now, on top of that, we have this Watcher thing that she gets when she levels up. All right, so this is basically a new win condition for Lissandra. It's definitely interesting. It's definitely not difficult to get this down to costing 0 by any means. There's already people posting on Twitter about like weird ways with like Retreat and Ice Pillar that you can like get this out super easy. So that's not really a thing. My concern is that this is actually too easy to get out, and the attack effect just like it doesn't need to actually strike. It just literally you just submit the attack and you're golden. It concerns me a little bit. I mean, there's ways around it. You can vengeance it, you can, stun it, but that's the thing, like even if you have priority, you just win with it attacking. So if you have priority, there's actually no way to play around it. I don't know. This card concerns me. Maybe it's actually harder to get out than I'm thinking. I mean, technically you can't even really get this off until like turn 8, 9, or 10 anyways, and it's kind of deep strategy, right? Turn 7 they get big ass sea monsters out, and then by turn 9 they're killing you anyways. So I guess it's really no different. It's just a late game win condition, but yeah, definitely interesting for sure. Her level 2, however, is freaking awesome. I absolutely love your Nexus has tough now. Your Nexus has a keyword. Somebody was joking on Twitter. Now we're going to give our Nexus regeneration. Might be a little broken. I'm just wondering. But I love this. I love that they're giving Nexus keywords now. I think it's great. I think it's a whole other layer to the game that just adds so much more to your strategy. On top of that, with Lissandra, you get a free 1 damage AoE every single turn, in that you're getting an Ice Shard that we just went over, and it's for free. Her tough keyword, also, going to come in pretty handy when you're ripping these off every turn. She's never going to take any damage from it, right? So there you have it, Lissandra. I am so excited for these. I love the originality of all these champions, and they still manage to keep every champion kind of true to that champion's original design in League of Legends. They feel so much like the champions. Lissandra and Tomb, like, just feels great, man. Just feels so good. So definitely looking forward to this set coming out on March 3rd, coming soon, about I don't know, like a week away or so. But until the next video, which will be out tomorrow, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.